All right. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast interview. Every single week, I interview top realtors, top entrepreneurs, and strip top badasses out there dominating their space. And today, guys, we got another special, epic, amazing guest on the podcast today. Our guest today, Sam Cottle. So, it's a dude that hasn't been doing this for that long. Got in just a few short years ago, but is absolutely on fire. Is in Tampa, Florida. We're going to get into more of his story here, but has done over $1 million in GCI in just a few short years with his YouTube niche. So we'll break that down and get into that, but really stoked and honored to have Sam on the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thanks, Joshua. Super happy to be here. It's a very full circle moment for me because I really discovered this idea of using YouTube to get leads on this podcast.
Yeah. Cause I mean, I think it was Shelby that introduced us.
Yeah.
So, mutual friend of ours, Shelby. But then then it came about where you'd mentioned that, you were watching the podcast, heard from some of our other guests that were crushing with YouTube. And so it's a small world, man. I love it, dude.
It
So,
is, yeah.
all right. So, okay. So you jump in, you just moved to Tampa, Florida in 2020. You
Yeah.
jump into real estate. So let's kind of just walk through that. Where'd you live before Tampa? What brought you to Tampa? And then what brought you into why real estate?
Sure. Yeah, I was in Colorado Springs for 10 years, and my wife and I met out there, got married, had our first kid, and always kind of knew we were going to move to Florida because she grew up in the Tampa area, has a big family down here, and so we just kind of knew we were going to move eventually. Pandemic happens. The company I was working for was going to go through some layoffs. They offered me just an easy out, and I took it. Said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and move. We're going to go ahead and make the jump and do something else. And I always kind of knew that real estate was next for me, mostly drawn to the investing side of it, as so many, get that bug. But got my license just to figure out how to pay the bills.
Yep. Okay. All right. So you moved to Florida, jump in 2020 into real estate.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of going off of some of the notes that you gave me when we scheduled this
Yeah.
podcast. But it was, because I think that this is important, man, because so many go through this. They jump into this, but man, until you found YouTube, you were having a very difficult time, man. Had a lot of
Yeah.
fear. And I mean, walk us through that.
Yeah. I mean, I had been an employee for the previous decade. That employer paid for me to go to school. I traveled to 30 different countries for them, had all kinds of opportunities there, easy, cushy, upward mobility, standard pay raises kind of stuff. And now jumping into it's on me. It's all on me. And now we're going to move across the country. Thankfully, we had just flipped a house and had some cash. So we had some padding when we moved. I was super thankful for that. But still, it's like I'm in this new place or with my in-laws, family that's not mine, doing something I've never done. And I'm like, I'll try to figure it out, right? So I try everything. I'm, buying Facebook ads. I'm, doing open houses. I'm cold calling. I'm door knocking. But nothing I'm doing feels like me. Nothing feel and I'm okay with that. In the beginning, I'll figure it out. I'll fake it. I'll, kind of wear the costume for a little while until it starts to feel normal. And then I just heard about YouTube and felt like I think I could do that. It sounds really hard, but I think that will feel like me. But even once I started YouTube, it was scary. Even once I got those first views, those first subscribers, it felt like, okay, I think this will work, but it still felt like I don't know how long it will take to work. And I just got to keep doing it in light of all that. Like you just have to keep doing the things you think will work, even when they don't feel like they will. And it's easy to look back and think like I knew it was going to work, but I didn't. I was scared. I was lost. I was on LinkedIn looking for jobs every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank God you stuck it out, man. So what was it then about? Because you're trying all these other things, and then you mentioned you were checking out the GSD Mode podcast, watching the episode I had with Will and Eli, who've
Yeah.
also became great mentors of yours too. And what was it about YouTube where you just felt that attraction to it?
Yeah, great question. So YouTube,
Hey, Joshua Smith here. I hope that you are enjoying this podcast interview. Hey, real quick, and we'll get back to this interview in just here in a moment. But I wanted to let you know, look, if you are a real estate agent, if you are a team leader, if you are a brokerage owner, and maybe your business is down, maybe it's stagnant, maybe it's growing, just not at the pace that you want it to grow at. It's like you're operating down here, but you know your potential is way up here. You just don't know exactly what to do to get you from exactly where you're at to where it is that you want to go. Now, if that is you, I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure coaching strategy call with me personally. This is going to be a 1 hour long Zoom call. And here's what we're going to break down. We're going to break down where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you are currently doing, what the biggest obstacles are that you are facing. Then from there, I'm going to map out and break out exactly what I recommend that you do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So by the end of this coaching call, you are going to know exactly what you must do, what you must execute on to, again, get to from where you're at to where it is that you want to go. So I 100% got your back. I got you covered. I will get you dialed in. If you want to take advantage of this, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Now, full disclosure, we're going to spend about 50 minutes going through all that, making sure that we get you dialed in. And at the last 10 minutes, yes, I'm going to spend a few minutes letting you know about my coaching program, what it entails. And look, if it works for you, great. Not, that's okay too. We can still be friends. You have my word that you will know exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. I will make sure that this coaching call is extremely valuable, extremely powerful for you to eliminate all that guesswork and get your business dialed in. I got your back. I 100% got you covered. So if you want to take advantage of that, again, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call.
What is it about it that hooked me? It felt like these guys were on this episode saying they've been doing it for 3 months, saying they're getting 2 to 3 leads a day. I remember that so clearly. I was like driving to the gym. I texted Will right after I listened to it on Instagram. And then when I left the gym, I started listening to it again because I'm like, I feel like I want to like get it. It just felt like they're answering questions that people are asking.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I know the questions people are asking because I just moved here, first of all. So I can tell my own story of like these things were confusing to me, or these things, this is how I pieced the area together. This is how I understand where this part of town is and where this part of town is. And I just felt like something in my story would connect with people. And it mainly because I had just moved across the country. And now I'm trying to attract people that are also moving across the country. And something just resonated with me.
Yep. Yep. So, and then obviously then you weren't somebody that's like afraid of being on video. You're like, okay, I can do this. You can see yourself doing this. Got people coming to you, right? You just reload. So you're like, okay, people that are going to be coming in are going to be reloading and can help these people. All right.
I
So
mean,
then
I was afraid. I was definitely afraid of being on video.
yeah.
And I mean, I was in the third bedroom in our house, like just putting a collared shirt on. I don't wear collared shirts. And just like pretending. And I remember just like telling my wife, like, I gotta go shoot this video. And like she's encouraging me, kind of psyching me up a little bit. But it
Yep.
still felt like I don't know what I'm doing. This is scary. And I hope people watch. I hope people actually get value out of it. But yeah, I was willing to be uncomfortable with the video, even though, like, who knows?
Yeah. That's what I always tell people too. I'm like, all right, you see somebody, like yourself that's now, you done what, over 1 million in GCI in the last 3 years from just your YouTube channel, over 80 deals
Yeah.
now. And it's like, okay, like I was just watching your most recent video, about things that you got to know in 2024,
Yeah.
and okay, but it's like, okay, like we watch that, but sometimes we're comparing what you're doing now today. I'm always like, go back and watch the
Right.
first shit. Like go back and watch,
Exactly.
so we can see that journey. Cause not everybody, obviously we all start somewhere, man. So then with that being said, dude, let's kind of break down how long did it take you and we'll get into the things that you've learned and what most important, what you know now and what advice you'd have now. But how long did it take to start building this up before you had any element of a payoff?
Yeah. So September 2020 is when I had the idea, right? Hear the idea, and I start really kind of working with it in my own head, kind of trying to test it with my own friends and family, is this crazy? Do you think I can do this? You know, trying to find that confidence from external sources. And so that's September, do the work to get the first videos out by January 17th of 2021. I start getting some leads within the first 2 months, but my phone system notifications weren't set up right. So I missed the first 5. And test your systems. Then I start getting some more, and they're just kind of slow and renters and they're low budget. My first closing was in May. So it took September, the idea, to May to be like the first actual payout from a someone that reached out because of my YouTube channel.
Okay. So we're talking 8 months.
Yeah.
Now, did you say, okay, May was your first closing or your first actual client?
First closing from YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, market to market seems to be a little bit different. You know, I mean, you're in a great market for any market being
Yeah.
great for YouTube, but the higher the reloads, the, you know, I mean, not all markets are created equal, you know, with this. You know, but that's what I'm always trying to prep and tell people of like, look, dude, if you do everything right, you don't screw anything up on average, you know, it's probably going to be like 9 months, you know, 9-10 months before you start seeing consistent lead flow coming in, you know? So, and the reason why I bring this up is like a Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, talking about stopping 3 feet short of gold, right? I think we got to have realistic expectations of how much work, energy, and effort and how long we got to give something, because then it's like, okay, well, I'm going at this hard for 3 months, releasing content every single month.
Yeah.
And you stop prematurely and then boom, you know, right? We got to give it enough time.
Right. Yeah. And you just don't really know how much time. I mean, we can throw out 9 months. Like, yeah, hopefully it'll take only that long, but maybe it'll take longer.
Yep. Yep. So what were you doing in addition to that though, like to float you for that time? Did you just have the savings or were you doing other things to still try to procure business too?
Doing other things. I was with a small local broker at the time, and we had an awesome coach on staff. That was super helpful in the beginning. Like realtors, you need coaching in the beginning. You don't know what you don't know. You need help processing a lot of things. So that helped. At the time bought some Zillow leads, and this was still before Zillow Flex. You have to buy, you know, market. I signed up for 6 months and was able to close one of those, and that paid for all of it for the 6 months.
Yep.
But then the next like 12 of them were just mean. And I was just insecure realtor. And I'm like, I don't know how to deal with these people. And then in the midst of that, people started reaching out from YouTube. And I'm like, wow, these people like actually want to work with me. And it's not the other way around. And so, yeah, I just floated it with savings and with a few deals and just keeping our expenses super low.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So then, all right. So 8 months, got your first closing.
Yeah.
Then what it looked like from there? Like how, because I mean, essentially, if I'm doing the math right, that's only about 2 years then to blow up 80 deals. So then I'm guessing it just started to, like, then that momentum really kicked in.
Right. Yeah. So that year started to feel like it's snowballed for me. And I ended up closing 13 deals from YouTube that first year.
Okay.
And then at the end of that year, my son was born, my second child. So I brought on a partner to help me with deals kind of right away, just so I could be at home more, you know, could work a little more of a standard week, but just to have, you know, family expectations there. Then we did over 25 deals the next year. And then the past year, 2023, we did 44 deals. So, and then we've already closed a bunch this year, right? So it definitely snowballs if you keep doing it. And in the midst of that, you know, looking back at that 9 months, the 8-9 months that it takes, you can't just be doing the same stuff that whole time either. You got to be gradually getting better, right? No matter what you're doing, whether you're making videos on YouTube, you're making content on Instagram, you're cold calling, if you're saying the same thing every single time, if you're doing it the same way every single time, and you're not getting a little bit better every single time, it's probably going to take way longer than 8 or 9 months, right?
Yep. 100%, dude. So then it sounds like, well, you said you're done a bunch already this year. So we're February 5th. So I don't know what a bunch, but it sounds like, okay, last year you're averaging, safe to say, between 3 and 4 a month.
Yeah.
You know, is that about where the flow is staying steady right now?
Yes. For January, that's consistent for February. We have a bunch more active listings. We have a lot of buyers in town. I mean, we have 20 buyers in town in February.
Yeah.
And, and then we have, 4 active listings, another 2 going live this week. And I mean, that's the pivot that starts to happen is you start to get listings from this kind of marketing as well, not just buyers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to know, man. Because most people think that YouTube is just gonna be buy-based business. Now, are
Yeah.
you in because I really want to spend some time going through like, what your strategy is,
Okay.
advice that you have, because dude, YouTube is a science, man. And I know so many people that I talk to that are like, they've been at it for 2 years and just get
Hmm.
nothing. And,
Yeah.
and their content looks good, but it's just like they're just missing, some elements, but are the listings coming from you're still creating the same kind of content? It's just your name's out there more, or you're getting referral business coming in, or have you pivoted to creating also content based around going after sellers?
I haven't created content based on going after sellers. I've done a couple of those like things you need to think about if you list your house. Those videos just kind of fall flat because people aren't actually searching for that stuff on YouTube. But what it does is, the brand builds up big enough to where you build up enough kind of social proof and trust and these kind of things. And this one we have going live this Thursday, within 15, this guy went to my website, scheduled a call, and within 15 minutes of the conversation, he's like, just send over the listing agreement. We're good. It's like he feels like he knows me. He feels like he likes me, feels like he trusts me based on my videos. He was telling me his wife was like, why haven't you called Sam yet? Like I'm like a household name for them. And so then when we even like met him at the property, and this is like a nice condo with a view of the Gulf, he's so excited to even meet me. Like it's just a whole different dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's nice about it, because it's not only is it a very high converting lead source, one of the highest that I've seen, with where you can hit 20% plus conversion rates and even beyond, if you're really good. But it's like, okay, the people that don't like you, that don't connect with you, they're just not reaching out.
Absolutely. And that's fine.
Yep.
But another way we're getting listings is by leveraging the YouTube channel. So, I mean, we do other kinds of prospecting as well, whether that's door knocking around to open house or cold calling some expireds. Me and my team are doing that, and then we're using the YouTube channel as like, hey, can we send our videos over to you just to kind of give you a glimpse of what we're like, and then we can call back and set up an appointment. Because my thinking is if somebody watches me on video for 30 minutes before we go meet them, it just changes the whole thing. They know a little bit more what I'm like. They all of a sudden know I have a family. They know I'm from a small town in Oklahoma. Like all these kind of things that build trust and that make me likable enter the conversation before we're asking for business.
Yep. Love it, dude. Oh, so let's get into the weeds here with the YouTube channel
Sure.
itself. Okay, so before we get into what you're doing and what recommendations you have, let's maybe go through some of the top mistakes that you learned that you're like, okay, hey, if you are listening and watching this and you're wanting to start a YouTube channel, make sure that you absolutely do not do X, Y, Z, because I'm sure that you went through some of those.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is home tours. I think realtors just want to show houses. They think that's their job. Their job is not to show houses. Their job is to be some kind of guide for their area. You know, say you're going to look at a new construction neighborhood. Uh, yeah, this is one of the models that this builder is making. Okay, interesting, mildly interesting, not really that interesting at all. But what is happening in the whole development? How does this road now connect to that toll road that gets you down to the airport real fast? What are the grocery stores going to be like? What's the future development? People are thinking way bigger, and like just simplifying your job to doing a home tour, like some kind of walkthrough, I think is one of the biggest mistakes I see.
Yeah, because it's okay. Most of the, I'm guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it's area to area. I know for us internally here in Phoenix, the vast majority of our YouTube clients aren't locals. They're coming from out of state. So they're looking at this of like they can go on Zillow to see a virtual tour of the home. They're
Yeah,
like, what's it going to be like to live in this area?
right.
Right. So it's kind of getting in that mental framework of, okay, who's going to be watching this channel? What is the intel that they want and need?
And yeah, I think let's get into the weeds with that a little bit because I think people think they need some kind of tool or some kind of guru to tell them the content they need to make. But anyone, if they spent an hour every evening and pretended like they were moving, like if you just pretended like you're going to move to Tampa, okay, what are you going to do? You're going to go like look at the map a little bit. Maybe these areas are cool. And then you're going to do another search in another tab and like dig into that. Then you're going to find a house that you kind of like. And then you're like, okay, what grocery stores are close to that? And like, if you like let yourself pull the thread and just take it seriously, then you can find the things that you need to answer for potential clients. It's not just like some list that I can give you of your first 20 videos. I can give you that, sure. But like it's not that hard to figure out. People are just not willing to do the work.
Yeah. 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 Well, and then I find too, and I don't know if you use this for intel, but it's like when we're having conversations
Yeah,
with potential clients, like they kind of give us the content.
they totally do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When somebody calls you and says, I need to be close to Trader Joe's. Oh, maybe I should mention Trader Joe's in videos. Like the content's there. People are telling you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then from there, all right. So then let's maybe start with, frequency of content, because there's so much to cover here, man. Right. So let's maybe start with
So
frequency,
much.
right? Because I hear different things of, oh, you got to do, one a week or two a week or two, like what have you found to be a good frequency, or even if it's the minimum, hey, don't even do this if you're not able to do X. Like when it comes to frequency, what have you found to be important there?
I mean, I think 2 a week is super important for your first 100 videos, mostly because it creates. I mean, we forget we're like playing the game of YouTube a little bit. We want to show YouTube who we are and not just our potential clients who we are. We want to say, hey, YouTube, I'm here to create content for your platform that your viewers like, and I'm going to try to keep them on your platform as long as possible. If you show up twice a week and you keep people on as long as possible, you keep getting better, you ask people to subscribe, you engage with comments, like that's the game you got to play. I think twice a week for about 100 videos, that's a year, right? Will get you there. And then also your analytics at that point start to just tell you so much. They start to tell you what videos to make based on your search traffic, based on your comments, based on like all this data that you created by creating content.
Yep. Okay. All right. So then, okay. So two per week, first 100 days. Now let's maybe transition to that with the analytics, right? I mean, because YouTube's always changing, man. Like I remember
Yeah.
when I first got into YouTube, it was a long time ago, man. But it was like, dude, I could toss something up. I mean, as long as it was, good, valuable content, but like no thumbnail, like I did no intention and title, no
Yeah, yeah.
tags, no, and I'd get 30,000 views like that.
Sure.
Now today it's like, I do that same thing. I get like 300,
Right.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's become a totally different, robust beast. So when it comes to the analytics, what are the most important things that you're paying attention to? Because you're saying
Yeah.
that, okay, they're kind of telling you what to do.
Yeah, I mean, think of the path of the video. So, I mean, first you're making the content. So, you're making the content as good as you can. You can't change that once it's uploaded. But then your title, which is your impression, that's what gets the video to pop up in somebody's search or recommended page is your title. Your thumbnail, which is your click-through rate. So, when it pops up, are people going to click on it? What percentage of people click on it? And then your average view duration. So, how much of your video do they actually watch? So all these things tell you different things, right? So if your average view duration is low, like, oh, it's popping up, but they're clicking on it, but this third one's low, then the content just needs to get better.
Yeah.
Or if the average view duration is really high, people seem to really like it, but it's just not getting clicked on very much. When it does show up, it gets clicked on a lot. Oh, the title needs to be improved. Like there's all these different indicators in the path, but it starts with title, thumbnail, content. And it's in that order. But the problem is you can't redo the content. Once you realize, oh, this content is not connecting, it might be time to unlist the video and reshoot it. But that comes way later. That like you have to create that problem for yourself after 100 videos or so. Not that when you start thinking about that kind of stuff really early, you start pulling down videos, you start slowing down your pace, like those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, would you recommend that somebody does those 100 videos before they're really paying attention to that stuff? Or like I had, one of my agents not too long ago, like they want to go out there and batch, I don't know, like 50 videos at once. And I was like, dude, I don't, I'm not sure if I would recommend, and look, I'm not saying that I'm right. But, I mean, this is, asking
Yeah.
you of did I give him bad advice or not? But it's, hey, I mean, there's nothing wrong with batching X amount ahead of time. So you have some in the bucket, but I'm like, you're kind of robbing yourself of that potential learning curve
Yeah.
of what's working, not working.
I would definitely never batch more than a month worth of videos
Okay.
ever. I mean, even now, I mean, I don't do 2 a week anymore. I do 1 a week now. You reach a point where you can slow down, but that's a while. And then, I mean, I would batch 4 at a time, but I might not even do that because I want to tell very current stories. I want to tell very current client stories. I'm working through this. I want to talk about deals that are under contract, not just deals that closed last month. And so I want to be very current with a lot of those things. And so I don't batch as much as I used to.
Okay. So then, and and just for anybody that's watching, listen, I'm going to ask a lot more questions as far as some different things, numbers that you hit on when it comes to your KPIs
Sure.
and different things. But let's maybe first, because I'm curious with, the overall video framework,
Hmm.
right? Because it's like, look, I mean, I'll see some people that, man, they have great content, but they don't
Yeah,
insert the right call to actions at the right times, or, they're just, so what is your methodology when it comes to the video framework?
sure. So I do 5 different things. This is probably the most valuable thing I can give anybody that wants to do this. Number one, you always have some kind of promise or hook. This is just the basic, hey, this is what you're going to get out of this video. Number two, you fulfill that promise. You actually do what you said in the promise or hook. And it's not, you prove that it's not just clickbait, that you're not just there to get views, but you're actually there to add some value. Number three is you have a call to action. So this call to action, I always do twice. Always. It's very simple. This was probably the most rehearsed part of my videos in the beginning because it was uncomfortable.
Yep.
But just telling somebody, hey, if you got value out of this, we want to hear from you. Give us a call, text, or email. What will happen after you do that is we'll schedule a Zoom call and we'll process how we can best help. Like that's a very non-confrontational call to action. No big deal. Number four thing that I do is client stories. I always tell client stories because what it does is I imagine this like trust meter in people's heads. The more they hear that I can be trusted, that I have my client's best interest in mind, and that I close deals, the more that trust goes up. And it's really just those 3 things. I can be trusted, I have my client's best interest in mind, and I close deals. It's not I'm the best realtor even. It's we have clients that buy and sell. Like it's not that complicated. So I call that the trilogy of influence. I had to name it something.
Yep.
And then my final thing is tokens. So tokens is something I got from other YouTubers, not realtors. It's important to learn YouTube from other people too, not just realtors. And tokens are things about myself. So tokens that I bring up again and again. One is that I have a family. Two is that I'm from a small town. And three is that I moved here. And I chose those very specifically because I think that people will like me or trust me more as they know those things about me. And all of this is still just the basic know, like, and trust formula. Like it's nothing more than that, but it's layered in there. Like how many times can you layer those things in there?
Yeah. Yep. No, I love it. Yeah. I mean, I do. I was just, like I said, right before we jumped on here, man, I was starting to watch some of your content and, yeah, I mean, you're going through about the land being burnt and, the
Yeah,
smell and how,
right.
your wife's sensitive to it and then the squirrel in your house, like just one video, it's like, all right, dude, like I'm already getting to,
Yeah.
like you mentioned that no like trust.
Well, and that
Um,
one video was 10 points and it had 10 little stories in it.
yeah.
Some about clients, some just about my perspective of things or my wife's perspective of things. Like you can just layer them in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and it was interesting too, because it's like, okay, like we hear of, Florida with crazy insurance,
Yeah.
but then you're inserting education of, okay, well, if you go by over here with the newer built house and they've got these, I don't know what the name is, but these
Yeah,
hooks
yeah.
in, okay, my
Uh-huh.
insurance went from 7,500 to 1,800 or whatever. And you're like, oh
Exactly.
shit,
Yeah.
okay, cool. It's not, there's workarounds with this crazy high insurance,
Right. Yeah.
you know? Um, all right. So then, so I don't know. Like, dude, your tone is so damn good in your videos too. Is that intentional or is that just your personality?
It's probably some my personality, but one thing I started to look at as I sent my videos to my friend that's an actor, and just like, hey, what can I do better? And
Yep.
he gave me some practical tips. But then I also started, one of the biggest tips he gave me was have longer points. Like, don't cut these up so much. Try to like talk 4 sentences at once instead of one. So like the editing seems more fluid. But he also recommended imitating some other people. So I started to going to other YouTubers and thinking, like literally watching them saying, what do I like about them? One of the big things that I liked was that they seemed disarming. This one guy that I used to like. And I'm like, okay, what's he doing? What's his voice doing? What's his body doing that makes me feel that? How does he lean in? How does he relax? Like whatever it is, what makes it feel disarming to me and how can I imitate that?
Yep. Yeah, dude, I honestly, it was the first thing I noticed about your videos. I'm like, dude, this guy, because like, look, and I don't personally do this on my YouTube videos or, but I didn't grow my real estate business through YouTube.
Sure.
I was
Yeah.
already exited from production by the time I started getting into YouTube. And, I
Yeah.
still do it for recruiting agents and so forth. But, when it comes to, okay, like I understand and know when it comes to sales, that 70% of sales is from your verbal, nonverbal cues,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
from a guy that like dude talks fast, that has high energy like me, like, dude, I've had to train myself so hardcore, to
Yeah.
slow down the tone and have that soft tone and, to intentionally never trigger sales resistance. And that
Yeah.
was the first thing that stood out for me when I'm watching it. I'm like, damn, dude, this guy. And I didn't know if it was intentional, if you knew you were doing that, man, or if
It's
it was
super
just
intentional. Like any moment I have where I um can be self-deprecating, any like if I can leave in little stutters at times, like
yeah,
all of that is super disarming. We had someone call the other day calling about South Tampa, which is a pretty nice area in Tampa, higher price points. And he's like, I Googled best schools in the area and your video came up in Google. He's like, how did you do that? That's cool. And he's like, and then I started watching the video. He's like, and I didn't even realize I was being sold to. I was like, that's the best compliment somebody can give. Is like, I found you not even on YouTube and then watched your video. And then I felt like, oh gosh, this guy's just adding so much value. Oh gosh, he's selling to me. Like I didn't even realize like I loved that moment.
yep, yep. No, I love it, dude. Okay, so then have you found, because there's so many different camps out there as far as length of video,
Yeah.
right? Like, is there a range that you found to be, because like, okay, when I do like these long form podcasts,
Yeah.
right now, and I get, I really do most of this for audio because I get about 20x the amount of downloads on audio than I just put them
Sure.
on YouTube because I'm like, shit, why not? I've already
Yeah,
got
yeah, of
them.
course.
But it's like, dude, the retention is so tough because people aren't going there to watch a 90-minute video.
Yeah. Yeah. People, you're right. There's a lot of differing opinions about this. Longer is better, but only if it's really good. I mean, that's the reality. A 20-minute video that's garbage, people are not going to watch half of it. They're going to watch 20% of it. And yeah, your average view duration went up, but did it really like you're not. So the best solution is to make better videos, make content that people actually want to engage with. But there's a little tip I use for people like you're still playing in YouTube's playground. If a video is 8 minutes long, they can put another ad in the middle. So if one video is 7.5 minutes long and one's 10 minutes long, which one are they more likely to promote? I mean, just they're selfish. Their mission is to make money for their shareholders. They're going to put the one where they can sell another ad in it. So 8 minutes is the floor. Like
Yeah.
no, whether you're monetized or not, 8 minutes is the floor.
Okay. So, all right, dude, does adding, like, allowing for monetization of your videos so YouTube can add ads? Because like I have all mine shut off, right?
YouTube puts ads in there no matter what now, though.
Yeah, I don't know on my channel. Well,
That
maybe
was
maybe
something
you're
that
right.
that was something they changed last year, saying that they're going to put ads in videos whether they're monetized or not.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm pretty sure that mine still don't. You know,
Okay.
um, um, but it could be because I drop F bombs like crazy. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
that could be part of it. Yeah.
Okay, but but I've always been curious of like, okay, does it make a difference? Because if I'm YouTube and if I
Yeah.
have channels that don't allow for ads, okay, like I'm not going to push those as high.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not supposed to make a difference. I just think it does.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, how much can you honor YouTube's playground? That's kind of how I think of it. Like that's it. Like I just want them to know that I'm here for myself and for them,
Yep. Yep.
not just for myself. Because I think that they notice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the number one rule with any social platform is like, okay, you got to figure out what their objectives are and give them what they
Yes.
want and need,
Yeah.
and they're going to
Specific
return favor.
organic content. Yeah.
Okay, so then from there, you mentioned okay, the thumbnails for click through rate. What is because so many people talk about these terms, but then very few, like you mentioned Zillow earlier. Okay, well, I know, man, if you're converting at under 4% with Zillow conversions, like you're kind of mediocre. Like okay, you get above 10%, you're doing good. You get 15%, you're doing great. Like, what is the CTR rate to know if my thumbnails are on point, or if somebody's watching, listening to this on point, or like if we're doing a shit job and need to go back to the drawing table?
Yeah, so right now I have a little over 11,000 subscribers. So when I publish a video, subscribers watch it first. So click-through rate's really high. It's 9, 10%. But as it goes out into more new people, it's going to level off around 5%. As long as you're over 4%, if you're 4.01, you're good. Because it has a long life. YouTube videos have a long life. I have old videos I wish I could take down because they're embarrassing, but they've got 50,000 views, so they keep getting viewed every single week. So here they're staying.
Yep. Yep. And then do could you do like thumbnails, like with them being important,
Hmm.
you know, and us as realtors, we're typically not creative people. So like going in Canva or, whatever may not be, or maybe a good option for some, but like, I mean, do you have recommendations of you just go to Fiverr?
Yeah. I mean, likely if you've hired a video editor overseas as well, like they can do that pretty easily. And you just have to learn how to communicate to them, right? Take really good pictures of yourself, have somebody else take pictures of you, and then send those to your editor and critique what they do. Say, no, can you make that text bigger? You just have to learn how to talk to video editors and creators in a way that is helpful for them. So often we just think they can read our minds and they just can't.
Yeah. Okay. So then, all right. So click through rate, when we're adjusting or looking at long term overall, as long as you're 4.01% or greater,
Yeah.
you're doing good. Like you mentioned, okay, you might be 10, 11, 12% that first week or two, but then it starts to dip. Okay, then you mentioned, okay, average view duration. So your retention time.
Yeah.
What is, a target that you would recommend for somebody to know if they're doing a decent job, or if they're falling below this, they need improvement?
Yeah. I think what's Mr. Beast's target? Like 70 something percent. So we're in a different game than that. If you're in the 40s, you're doing pretty good with this kind of content.
Okay.
If you're in the low 30s, you're going to start trending down, and you really want to stay in the 40s with this kind of content.
Okay. So
And
40%.
and most of your drop off happens at the hook. You say what the video is about, and people are like, "Oh, never mind," and that's fine because they're not your people. You're literally looking for the people that are looking for you. And if they sign off in the first 10 seconds, they're not looking for you. That's fine.
Yep. Yep. Okay. And then are you paying attention to, average, like, how like you can go on there and say, okay, if this person's watched, 2.2 videos, or are you paying attention to that metric at all?
No, I'm not. But I know when people call, if they say I've been watching your video for 6 months, or if they say I just came across your videos last night, if they say 6 months, they're a super sticky client. Like they like conversion's super easy. If they actually move, no question they'll work with us. If if they came across it last night, we've got to do a lot more to retain them as a client.
Okay. Okay. So then, because I mean, at the end of the day, right? It's like, okay, yeah, we can go get, I was talking to a buddy the other day. I'm like, yeah, dude, I could go out there and just start creating YouTube shorts I can go out to Paradise Valley and start snagging shorts of all the freaking McLarens and and go out there and get millions of views. But I'm like, all right, are they the right views? Like at the end of
Yeah.
the day, it's
Yeah, yeah.
what kind of results are we getting? Is it vanity metrics? Are we actually getting the calls? Are we actually getting the business? You know, um, so then from there, like how do you get, what are recommendations, the call to actions and within the content to get people to, engage, but then most importantly, demand friggin' reach out?
Yeah, I was in Costco with my daughter a couple of months ago, and I could tell somebody recognized me. And this happens occasionally. I mean, Tampa's big. It's not that big. This guy was like, he's like, "Hey, you're the YouTube guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, "I watched your videos before I moved here. They're super helpful." I'm like, "What the heck? Why didn't you call? Like, I didn't hear from you."
Yep.
And I just called him out. I was like being playful with him. And he's like, "Oh, well, we're just renting. Like, just didn't want to bug you. I know you're busy." And I was like, "Well, when are you gonna buy?" He was like, "Let's go ahead and like make an appointment. Let's set this up." He's like, "Yeah, yeah." So we set it up. So the next videos I shot, I told that story. I was actually, this is my whole call to action. I was actually in Costco the other day with my daughter, and somebody recognized me from the channel, but they didn't call before they moved here. If that's you and you think I don't want to hear from you, or you think I'm just a renter, I'm not ready, no, you should call me. So like call, text, email anytime. I want to set up a call. I had multiple calls that week saying, "You called me out." People connect with that story and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I should go ahead and call him. I am that person." Like, so the call to action can be super direct like that. But in the beginning, most people are going to be comfortable with it being a little more ambiguous. Like, we would love to be your real estate choice. Give us a call, text, or email. The reality is, though, if you don't ask them to call, text, or email, like they're not going to.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. 100%, dude. Like, I don't care how good the content is, man. If you don't have the good right
No.
call to actions, it's like they're, got to give those concise instructions. Then, all right, have you had any issues with, you know, um, like, I don't know, just getting a bunch of renters and then like realizing, okay, we're getting these leads, but man, maybe they're the wrong leads. So maybe we need to adjust our content type or call to actions. Has that been an issue that you've experienced?
It has been at times it's so linked to what stories I'm telling. So I live north of Tampa on an acre. I started telling that story more. And then it was like weeks where everybody wanted to live north of Tampa on an acre. So it has to do with what client stories you're actually telling. If I'm telling stories about new construction suburbs over and over, I'm going to get more of those as long as I'm talking positively about it. I have a problem. Sometimes I talk kind of negatively about like cookie cutter suburbs. So some of that, like I need to buffer my own opinion a little bit, but some of it, like you just tell the story of I solved this client's problem. I found them the house and the timeline and the budget. And if that's what you want, then you should call us. Like it it's so linked to what stories you're telling because the stories show that you help clients and they also show that, the solution that those clients found might be the right solution for the viewer that's watching.
Okay. Okay. So then, I know that this question is probably in a lot of people's minds, comes up a lot. But like, what do you? And we kind of talked about this earlier, but if there was like, okay, if I'm out here in Phoenix, never started a YouTube channel before, and I was getting ready to start one, I came to you and was like, Sam, like, what are the, I don't know, half a dozen
Yeah.
most key important types of videos to create? Whether it be like like we hear the pros and cons or cost of living, like, are there any that it's like, all right, like here's kind of a sure thing to make sure that you start with?
Well, first of all, go follow me on Instagram at the Sam Cottle. Send me a DM and I'll send you lists of stuff like this.
Okay.
There's my call to action. But think of the map. Think of it that you got your whole map of the Phoenix area. What's the biggest chunk it can be in? Okay, just the whole area. So let's talk about the entire area. Let's talk about what it costs to live in this whole area. Then let's talk about the pros and cons of this area. Then maybe let's break it up into 4 chunks. So we're going to start with this chunk over here, and then this chunk, and then this chunk. And it's the same videos. It's cost of living, it's pros and cons, it's best schools, it's 5 best neighborhoods in each of those chunks. And you can just get smaller and smaller and smaller. And what you're doing is you're building this library of content. We think so much of like, making this one video to get clients. No, I'm building an entire library where people can go binge my content. They can sit down at their TV, grab some popcorn, and watch 20 of my videos in a row. So that I think it's that framework of you have to think of the library you're building and less about the one video that's going to get the lead.
Yep. Yeah, it makes it okay. So it's like, okay, you got Phoenix Metro, huge mass
Yeah,
area.
right.
Then we start, okay, well, then I could break it up between, north, south, east, west valley. Then we can start getting granular because there's like 30 some cities that then make
Right.
up the whole metro. Then now I
Yeah.
can get into, each specific city and just keep.
And then what you do eventually is you tell stories. Like it's every video of mine is story driven. It's like these are the 8 best areas that our clients are choosing. This isn't like I'm not blaming niche.com. I'm not saying bestschools.com, whatever. I'm saying our clients are choosing these 8 places most frequently when they move here. And then it's the whole setup of the video is all around the Phoenix Metro. These are the areas that people love. And it's just a whole different kind of thing. So you break it down geographically, and then you could break it down by topic, like the areas with the best schools, the areas that, people relocate from, that people buy in when they're relocating from California. It could be something even more granular like that.
Okay. Yep. So now you're down to doing a release a week,
Yeah.
but now that you have that momentum, all the other videos, like you have not seen a decrease in lead flow from going from 2 a week to 1 a week.
No, I mean, we see standard decreases in November and December. Like that's everything dies in Florida at that time. Everybody thinks we have a hot winter market. No, it just dies for a month. Then it's steady. Yeah, it's steady, but it takes so much time building up that brand. And
Yeah.
that's really what it is it's a brand. It's not just videos. It's people call Sam and living in Tampa because they trust me because I've been doing it for 3+ years and I'm still there.
Yep. Yep. 100%. And then, okay. So do you, because this is a thing that I get asked a lot from, like, for building a real estate channel, right? Because what I've found, man, is there's differences, dude. Yeah. This is why it's like, okay, like, let's just say, I don't know, Facebook ads. I know we're not talking about, I'm just using this as an example, right? Of, okay, like what works in my e-commerce supplement business is so
Yeah.
different than in my real estate business, which is so different than in like each, so sometimes we can be listening to, this YouTuber, but it's
Yeah.
like, dude, niche to niche, so many different things work so differently. And, so that being said, man, are you finding shorts to be an effective way to incorporate the growth of your channel for getting real estate clients? And if so, how are you leveraging those?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
They fall flat. They spike and they fall flat. And when you're thinking of your library, you want everything to get viewed over the long term. So you want this steady increase of views. You don't want spikes and death. And that's what happens with shorts. They're a good boost of views. And I tested it. I did a short a day for over 30 days to really test it. And I did the same kind of content, pros and cons and cost of living. And I'm like, let me actually try it. And my views were triple for the month. But eventually those videos were getting 0 views a month.
Yeah.
And I just unlisted them because all the other old videos that weren't even as good a production quality were getting 50 views a month still. So people are still finding value in these ones and not these ones. So the life of them is so short, I guess pun intended. So I don't think it's worth it.
Okay. Okay. Good, man. And I always like clear, concise, like yes, no.
Yeah.
Right. So I appreciate that, dude. All right. So then before I get in this next question, how long does it take? Maybe not so much now, maybe even now, but like in the beginning, like to plan the video, shoot the
Yeah.
video, edit the
Sure.
video, release it right. Like, how long should we? Hey, man, if I'm going to start with 2 releases a week for those first 100 days or, whatever, 100 videos, like, what is the time investment for this?
Yeah. I think a day a video pretty easily.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time. But from the beginning, realtors should not be editing their own videos. Honestly, your sister could probably do it better than you because she's got more time, right? But somebody asked me recently, another realtor, how long should I edit my videos before I hire an editor? Because I want to know if the editor's good. I'm like, that'd be like your aunt coming to you and saying, hey, I want to sell my house. I'm going to get my real estate license and I'm going to sell a few houses so that when I go to hire a listing agent for my house, I know whether they're good or not. We would never say that's a good idea. No, like literally just hire a professional and learn how to work with them and learn how to set expectations. So, but going back, like the timeline, you're going to spend a day, a video from the beginning. You're going to be doing a lot of research for those first ones. Like you reach a point after, I mean, I've made 300 plus videos. I don't need to like look up what the population of an area is or like what new neighborhoods are going in. Like I kind of have my finger on the pulse and I know I've made a lot of content connected to all those areas already. So now it's going to take me, 10 minutes to plan a video, another 12 minutes to shoot the video, and then I send it to my editor.
Oh, so now you're banging them out in like 30 minutes.
Yeah. There's speed bumps now.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, that's good to hear, dude. Because you start looking at this, you're like, man, a day of video, that's 2 days a week. Okay, well, man, I can be hitting the phones hard for 2 hours a day and be
Yeah.
listing 2 properties a week. So from a time allocation standpoint, but it gets to a point where it gets easier, builds up that residual momentum.
Yeah.
Things are evergreen.
And just like making calls, like we we don't make one call at a time and then set the appointment and then go to the appointment and then do all the paperwork. No, you make a bunch of calls at a time.
Right.
So if you break down the activities of a video, like writing video ideas, okay, sit down and write 10 title ideas. And then later that day, spend another 15 minutes just like expanding a couple of those ideas with a few points. If we create some kind of activities that we can batch, it's a lot more efficient. And that 2 days that it takes is going to feel a lot different.
Yeah. Do you use like Chat GPT or
Never.
any? No, you don't use any of that stuff for.
I've tried and it just doesn't feel natural. It doesn't like the feeling you got in my videos. I can't replicate that with ChatGPT
Yeah.
because
Yep.
it's me. It's me as a person that people are calling saying, and people talk to my partner when they call and they're like, I want to talk to Sam. I'm like, okay, let's figure out a schedule a call with Sam.
Yep. Yep. Okay, so then, all right, so then, early on in this, you talked about, okay, how you're leveraging the YouTube channel now, like with, whether it be open houses, circle prospecting, expireds. So you guys are now within the team incorporating some of these other things.
Yeah, we're just thinking, how can we use what we've already built to gain more trust in front of somebody? Sometimes people have already seen the channel, but if they haven't, then maybe it just shows, hey, we're creative at marketing, we're unique, we're different than all these other people that are trying to get your listing. Or it might just show, hey, we have our fingers on the pulse of buyers. Like we have buyers calling us all the time, so we know kind of what to highlight with your listing. We know what kind of content we can make. We have just kind of a different perspective.
Yeah. Now, are you using like a specific kind of way to leverage this, or is it more of, okay, I'm just going after expireds in a kind of a consistent, normal way, but to get that USP to kind of sell you,
Yeah.
right? Then I'm adding that. Hey, do you mind if I also shoot this over to you for you can check out? But it's
Yeah,
just
that's it.
traditional still.
Yeah. Yeah, traditional with a little bit of media leverage in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. How large is your team now? I mean, what does that look like?
I have one partner that helps me with all the transactions and all the lead flow. Then we have a TC, and then we have a video editor in India.
Okay. Okay.
That's
So
it.
then who's going after the expireds?
My partner that does all the transactions. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So your role then primarily is just creating the content.
Yeah, just building the brand.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good gig.
Yeah,
A lot of
it's
work, but
awesome.
yeah, but it all synergizes together, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Because it all like it raises the tide, like overall.
Yep. Yep.
Because then they come in easy. And that listing we have, that condo on the water, he's like, hey, I want to 1031 these other properties that I own in North Carolina. I've got a bunch of them. He's like, can we buy a bunch of stuff down here? Yeah, sure. But all that comes in from, his experience with the YouTube channel and then his experience talking to me. Like, so it's that brand connection and then like how that brand actually delivers when you're face to face is like adds so much.
Yep. Yep. No, love it, dude. So then, I mean, you only been at this for a few short years, man. I mean, what's your long-term vision for this, dude? Like, where do you see this in, 4, 5, 10 years?
Yeah. I hosted a few agent events last year. And the first one, lender partner got up and introduced me as Sam from EXP. So I got up, I'm like, I'm not here to like recruit all you guys. Like, back off. I'm not, I promise. I was like, but also I would love to have you join my different line and help you build your business. So a lot of it's that, we're hosting monthly agent events now. I want to teach people how they can do this because the brand is me for my YouTube channel. The brand for your YouTube channel is you. Like you're the unique part of this. Like competition's not really a thing with this kind of media. Yeah, people are gonna like compare people, but they're gonna choose the person they want to work with the most. So I want to help other agents do this in my market and in other markets. It's super fun, connecting with an agent, identifying their goals with them, and identifying how YouTube can help them reach their goals is super fun to me.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Love it, man. So okay. So it sounds like, okay, continue doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, over time, um, being able to go out there, mentor and impact other people and grow in this as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this. Like the opportunities just get bigger and brighter the longer you do something. It's like at first you want to say yes to everything, and then you get a few years in, and you're like those were bad options. Like I shouldn't have ever said yes to those. But now it's like whatever we want to do, people are calling to do it with us. If we want to start flipping houses, if we want to start buying apartments, if we want to start doing anything like that, people are calling with those interests already and want to work with us. So like whatever we want to pursue is in front of us. And that's something that like this kind of a brand does. It like starts to attract people with unique opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. And I look at, we kind of talked about like Chat GPT and some of this AI earlier. Dude, because and I could be way off on this, but man, I think that personal brand going forward is going to be so damn important because
Yeah.
everything is just going to get with AI. It's just going to get like nothing's going to be real. It's
Right.
going to be a bunch of fake shit. We can't tell, right? So how do you differentiate yourself is through building that freaking personal brand, dude.
Yeah. Until AI can figure out the things that connect with an audience, which it might eventually, but like somebody called yesterday saying like our first agent kept taking forever to get back to us. We reached out to you because we're young and have kids and thought we would connect with you. It's like how do they know that I'm young and have kids? Because they've watched a bunch of my videos,
Yeah.
like because they've like connected with me, and yeah, ChatGPT just can't do that yet. These
Yep.
other tools can't do that yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because I get asked a lot about that with like, okay, what kind of AI are you using inside your organization for follow up? And I'm like, look, dude, I'll use certain AI for like, I don't know, like Gamma app for like creating. It's an AI presentation creator for like relocation
Okay.
guides. Okay,
Yeah.
that's dope. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. Sometimes for some like quick shorts or reels, yeah, I'll toss a video into Opus clips to
Yeah.
chop something
Opus is
up real
awesome.
fast.
Yeah.
Right? But then from there, when it comes to like the actual follow-up protocol, I'm like, dude, conversions are like not only have I not seen it not convert well, I've only seen it crush and kill negatively conversions.
Yeah.
Like I've had to yet anybody be able to articulate any type of a positive ROI when they incorporate that actually into like the follow-up, right? Because like
Yeah.
like when you go on to any kind of a website as a consumer, like any of us, like within like 10 seconds, whether that's a live chat or whether it's some
Exactly.
AI. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you get pissed and you're like, peace out, dude.
And maybe it can help solve the first problem, but you're just not going to connect with it.
Yep. Yep. Especially when we're helping people buy and sell the largest financial transactions of their lifetime, dude, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Well, right on, Sam. Well, dude, and I know you gave your Instagram earlier, but what is so for anybody that wants to go watch you, follow you, everybody's freaking moving to Tampa, Florida, or Florida, so they have referrals for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
where's the best place for people to connect from with you, learn more about you, check out your channel, all of that stuff?
Instagram for sure at the Sam Cottle. Just send me a DM. If you don't, if you start following me, I'll probably send you a DM and ask you where you heard of
Okay.
me. Um, I mean, I want to follow up with people like that. I want to engage with people like that. And I want to hop on Zoom calls. I had multiple Zoom calls last week with agents that are just curious about their YouTube channels that they already have or haven't started yet. Like that's super fun. So I don't just want you to follow me. I want to engage with you. I want to talk to you, like all those kind of things.
Yep. Yep. Love it. Love it, man. All right. Well, Sam, dude, truly appreciate you taking time out of a busy day to be here with us, man. This has been a lot of
Yeah.
fun, my friend.
Thanks, Joshua. Super happy to be here. Super fun, like full circle moment. And it's all just because I put in the work. Like that's it, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could get the idea planted, man, but you executed and
Yeah.
took action, and it's awesome seeing, man. And those watching, listening, as always, truly appreciate you guys. Truly appreciate your support. Keep crushing, keep kicking ass, and we'll see you next time. Peace.